and all that crap. If you actually got enough supporters, and I'm talking about the match goers, yeah, with the help of the influence of the YouTube channels and the Twitter accounts, to go in one direction, and we actually protested, and I'm talking about a professional protest, yeah, to say Clearlake out and Bowley and his consortium out. We don't want either of them. That straight away eliminates and obliterates any PR that they can throw anywhere they want to try and convince supporters support us. We'll take the club in the right direction. Because the reality is they have done nothing for the last 2 years, coming in the third year, for us to trust them. They are the most untrustworthy owners, more untrustworthy than the Glazers, and even the Glazers haven't done this much damage in 2 years. So, that's where I stand with it. I actually believe we have the power right now where we've been gifted a divide upstairs, which plays into our hands perfectly, to actually say, do you know what? All of you get out. You're not fit. You're not fit to run Chelsea. You're unfit to run Chelsea. It doesn't matter what.
It's true.
PR.
And you know what's interesting with this PR machine now? But prior to this, it was the PR must be fed to the fans, right? It was, one machine run by the ownership to dictate what the fans will hear and what the fans will know. Whereas now it's split between themselves to protect themselves against each other. For the first time, the fan base and go, this isn't aimed at us any longer now. This is going to be them not aiming at them lot and them lot aiming at them lot. And we get to take a back seat and just watch it all happen now, which is going to be interesting because, like you said, it's about protecting the image for them, and I'd say more so Clearlake rather than Bowley here. More Clearlake in terms of imaging.
Because the percentage share.
Bowley is his own guy. Clearlake have an investment fund that they've got to protect here and investors on their back. So that's a bigger problem that they've got. The longer this goes on, the more this affects them. But it's going to be PR between themselves, and this is why for the first time in a while we get to see who's going to slip up, because someone will slip up. It's impossible to keep up a bunch of lies going on without something popping to the surface at some point. It's impossible. Someone's going to make a mistake, right? Someone's going to make a contradiction. It's already happened. Well, we already saw it tonight in relation to the stadium stuff. There'll be more examples of that coming out. So it's going to be an interesting one, but you're right. The problem is, and you've mentioned this for a while, and I honestly believe this is a case as well. Many fans believe that these owners are tied in for 10 years.
Yes,
right?
Yes, Abby. Come on, land it, bro. Land it.
I don't see how the logic is adding up in relation to that after what we've heard since this problem has arisen, right? The owners are now kicking off between themselves. Okay, so from the moment that happened last week, we've heard, well, Bowley can share his stake to Clearlake if he wanted to, so Bowley could be out. We've heard Clearlake could sell their stake to Bowley if they want, and they could be out. We've heard that Bowley could get investors on board to form a group to buy out Clearlake, which means that new people can come into the equation.
External, yeah.
So we've heard that new people can come into the equation. Bowley can sell his stake. Clearlake can sell their stake, but the owners can't leave for 10 years.
What for?
The maths are not adding.
Maths ain't mathing. And that's what I've been saying. Eunice, how long have I said to everyone? How long have I said they can sell the club? It's now come to the point where Ben Jacobs goes on a Twitter space and says it's a grey area. Why? Because if there's a bidding stipulation at some point and you can't come to an agreement, then you've got to basically both cut your losses or say, let's take our profits and walk, because you can't come to an agreement and you can't have this continuing any longer than what it's going to take right now. So therefore, if Bowley can get external investment from a third party that's not currently involved in the ownership, that straight away proves that there is no 10-year clause, all right, where they're stuck in for 10 years. What the 10-year clause was, what I was trying to educate people is, it's a 10-year Glazer clause. But the loophole in the Glazer clause, which is in terms of extracting money out of the club, is if you spend over the 1 billion.
The investment, the promise of the investment. Yeah,
right.
Which has been made. It's done.
It's done. So, and that's where they took the 2 hotels and they transferred it onto a sister company and all the real estate, etc. Right? But this is the thing. He said it's a grey area. Ben Jacobs, Toothpick Jacobs. Yep. It's a grey area about whether they can both leave. Yep. And now you're getting PR from Clearlake saying, no, we're not. We have to give permission as 61.5% ownership of the club. Whether you can get external investors, I don't buy that, because why would they stop Bowley from saying getting the money in to say, look, we'll pay you out and you'll make this profit? They won't do that. This is all tactical negotiations. They can't negotiate a mobile phone contract yet. They got to negotiate in terms of the transfer market, all right? But they got to negotiate with each other now, as well as have the season ongoing. So my thing is this, right? They can both sell, and they know it. But now their disguise has been revealed. The mask is off in terms of they're fixed for 10 years. The 10 years came from, which I stated a year ago, is they had a 10-year plan, which is Clearlake's 10-year plan. But if you paid attention to the PR from Bowley says, I want a 20, 30-year plan.
Yep.
He wants to be there longer because he knows he needs more than 10 years to build a stadium, because they never envisioned the CPO. And let's have it right, CPO, stand up tall, no surrender mentality. Don't let these clowns take one brick out of Stamford Bridge. You understand me? That's where I'm going, because that's our only saving grace right now, literally. But my point is this, Eunice, they can sell. So what would force them to sell is the question. What would force them to sell, aside from them at loggerheads and the bad PR? Well, where does the bad PR come from? The supporters. Because if the supporters actually protest and say, Clearlake, Bowley out, then, mate, there is no PR happy meals they can throw out to convince supporters we're the good guy, because you're both bad. You're both not healthy for this football club, and you've proved that by spending 1.5 billion and gutting everything that Roman Abramovich has built to make our club elite. You're just abusing our elite club and the heritage to implement your business model to make money. It's not about winning trophies. It's clear as day. Because if that was the case, you would have signed us Osimhen, mate, on transfer deadline day, which is where I want to kind of go with the whole how it's fallen apart. But you understand what I'm saying here, Eunice, in the sense that, and I hope everyone viewing understands, this is about collectively sending the message from the supporters, because there is you cannot tell me as a supporter that you are happy. Like John Obi Mikel comes out and says, we're at Chelsea in a happy place. No one can say, I'm happy, I trust this project solely, and we're on to great things, and the track record tells you that. No one can come out and say that. You're on blind faith. You're on hope.
Mate, but the false positivity was a bad thing in and of itself. But now, as you said, the mask has come off. Mate, they don't trust it themselves, in between themselves.
Exactly.
Right? Bowley doesn't trust Clearlake. Clearlake don't trust Bowley. How do you want us to trust the process? They can't even trust it themselves, in between themselves. Listen, as you said, that mask has come off. But what I will say, this won't end soon. And this is going to be a long ride. And it'll be a long ride because I think Clearlake will try. I think Clearlake are banking on the hope that at some point Bowley folds, right? Sells up, and then Clearlake have 100%. If the longer that doesn't happen, the more damaging it becomes for Clearlake. And obviously, Bowley's not stupid. He knows that as well. And if he genuinely does have investors or people that are there in the waiting for him to just knock on their door and go, listen, do you want to make the move? We can do if you want. The longer it goes on, and he won't do that now, because it'd be silly for him to do that now. And listen, they're billionaires. They think on another level when it comes to this sort of thing.
Yeah,
That's something we have to put our hands up for and go, listen, there's things that they know that we definitely don't know, right? But just out of my thinking, right, the longer this goes on, the more it helps Bowley and the less it helps Clearlake. Because their hand at the negotiating table gets weaker and weaker and weaker. And why? Because they've got tons of investors as part of the Clearlake Fund that are waiting for their returns on their investment that they've put into the hands of Clearlake. The longer this goes on, it damages Clearlake. It damages that. It devalues a lot of things, and the investors get hurt. Bowley's not stupid. Bowley knows that. But I'm sure Bowley has people he can knock on the door and right now and go, listen, do you want to do something? We can. But he'll wait. And this is why I'm saying, as long as he's waiting for that to happen and Clearlake are waiting for Bowley to fold, this is going to take a very long time. Very long time.
This 100% it will. I mean, no billion transaction. It's not like fucking Western Union, is it, Eunice? Let's have it right.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? It's not Western Union. I'm just going to send you a little something, and you know, we move on. You know, You're not buying some cobbler. You know what I'm saying? So
exactly.
But this is what I'm saying. Listen to this.